Um, when you hear the phrase anti-aging, there is this like immediate, almost conditioned expectation of a sterile laboratory
Right?
room.
Absolutely. We've been completely trained to look for that.
Right. You picture an engineer in a pristine white coat handing you this tiny, incredibly expensive jar of synthetic cream. Or maybe, I don't know, some pharmaceutical fad that promises to just magically freeze time.
Yeah, we assume that if a compound isn't, synthesized, isolated, and heavily patented in a lab, it couldn't possibly be effective against something as complex as human aging.
Which is just such an exhausting cycle to keep up with. But when you actually turn your attention to the botanical world and to these traditional medicine practices that have survived for thousands of years, suddenly that whole laboratory model feels completely backward.
It really does. I mean, the botanical world has been quietly perfecting longevity for millions of years. Plants can't exactly run away from environmental threats, so they have to manufacture these incredibly complex chemical defenses just to survive.
It's the absolute definition of hiding in plain sight. Like, what if the literal fountain of youth isn't a synthetic molecule, but something sitting right now in your spice rack? Or, your garden, or the local produce aisle.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we're getting into today.
Yes. Welcome to the deep dive. We are unpacking a really fascinating breakdown today from the YouTube channel Homestead Roots, which covers 20 specific anti-aging plants.
And just to be clear, our mission here isn't just to rattle off a grocery list for you.
No, definitely not. We are going to map out exactly how these botanical powerhouses work on a molecular level, like how they literally reprogram your cells to behave younger, protect your DNA, and basically rebuild your body from the inside out.
Right, because we are not talking about managing the superficial symptoms of getting older here. We're not just plumping up a wrinkle. We are exploring cellular and genetic level interventions that address aging at its root cause.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we can talk about building new, youthful cells, we have to talk about clearing out the junk.
Step one, you cannot build a pristine new biological structure on a foundation of cellular debris.
Exactly. So we're moving into how specific plants act as your body's microscopic waste management system. Think of the cellular accumulation like a massive city garbage strike.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Right. The trash is just piling up on the sidewalks day after day. It completely ruins the neighborhood. It blocks the streets, and it creates this incredibly toxic environment for everyone living there.
And in our bodies, these are known as zombie cells or senescent cells.
Yeah, zombie cells, they stop dividing, but for some reason, they just refuse to die. They just sit there taking up space.
They sit there, but worse, they start secreting inflammatory poison into the surrounding healthy tissue.
Ah.
And that inflammatory poison drives a biological process that researchers literally call inflammaging.
Inflammaging.
Yeah, it's a primary engine of tissue damage. When those zombie cells just sit there releasing toxins, they actively accelerate the aging of every single system around them.
Enter the strike-breaking cleanup crew. Let's look at turmeric. This is a golden root with, over 15,000 scientific studies backing it up?
At least, yeah. It's incredibly well researched.
But how does it actually clean up the streets? Well, its active compound curcumin directly targets that inflammaging and helps flesh out those zombie cells. And it also activates something called SRT1.
Right, the longevity gene.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand SRT1 is a longevity gene, but what does activating a longevity gene actually do for you, like practically speaking?
So think of SRT1 as a master metabolic switch. When we are young, or say when we fast, this gene activates and tells your cells to stop focusing on rapid growth and start focusing on deep repair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so curcumin flips that switch without you having to starve yourself.
Sure.
It basically signals the cell to deploy repair enzymes, fix damaged DNA, and sweep away the cellular trash.
That makes so much sense. And it's not just turmeric doing this, right? The source talks about thyme, too.
Yes, specifically Shirazi thyme.
Right. Shirazi thyme is apparently on the cutting edge of anti-senescent science for directly hunting down and clearing out those exact same zombie cells.
And it's so important because when you clear out those senescent cells, you halt a massive cascade of tissue damage. You basically clean up the biological neighborhood so the healthy cells can actually function.
But removing the bad is only half the battle.
Exactly. You also have to repair the internal engines of the cells that remain. Which brings us to your mitochondria.
The power plants of the cell.
We all remember that from high school biology.
Yeah.
Right. But mitochondrial dysfunction is a major hallmark of aging.
Right. They get old and rusty.
Basically. As those little power plants deteriorate over the decades, They produce way less energy and spit out more damaging free radicals.
So how do we fix a broken microscopic power plant? We've got pomegranate on the list here, which contains these compound called elagitannins.
Yes, longitudinal.
But like my understanding is that eating a pomegranate doesn't just magically swap out your mitochondria. There's an extra step involved, isn't there?
There is, and it's this fascinating collaboration between you and your microbiome. You don't actually absorb elagitannins directly to fix your cells.
You don't.
No. Instead, you eat the pomegranate, and specific bacteria in your gut feast on those elagitannins. They convert them into an entirely new metabolite called urolithin A.
Wait, really? So your gut bugs are essentially manufacturing the medicine for you?
Exactly. It's incredible. And that urolithin A then travels through your bloodstream to your cells, where it triggers a process called mitophagy.
Mitophagy, yes.
Mitophagy is basically a complete reboot for your cellular power plants. It signals the cell to dismantle the old, sputtering mitochondria and generate fresh, highly efficient new ones.
Oh, wow.
We actually see in human trials that this process measurably improves muscle strength and exercise capacity in older adults.
That is just wild. And, if we're talking about cellular self-cleaning, we definitely have to talk about the brain.
Right.
Which brings us to blueberries.
Oh, blueberries are powerhouses.
Right. These tiny berries are packed with anthocyanins, which are the polyphenols that give them their deep blue color. But the remarkable thing is their ability to cross the blood-brain barrier.
Which is very rare.
Yeah. I always thought the brain had a strict security checkpoint that just kept pretty much all compounds out.
It does. The blood-brain barrier is incredibly selective. Most molecules are either too large or, improperly charged to pass through. But the specific anthocyanins in blueberries are uniquely structured to slip right past that checkpoint.
And once they're inside,
Once inside the brain, they trigger autophagy.
autophagy being the cell's internal recycling program.
Yes, very similar to the mitophagy we just discussed, but on a broader scale. Autophagy literally means self-eating.
Right.
The brain cells start digesting their own damaged proteins and waste products.
Hmm.
In animal studies, triggering this specific pathway with blueberry compounds has extended lifespan by up to 28%.
A 28% extension is mind-blowing. Okay, so we've cleared the cellular trash, we've rebooted the power plants, and we've scrubbed the brain cells. The conversation now shifts to infrastructure.
Yes, the delivery systems.
Exactly. How does the body deliver all these newly processed nutrients, and how does it protect its core blueprint?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, you are really looking at two major systems. You have the body's highways, which is the cardiovascular system, and you have your most precious cargo, your genetic coding, specifically your telomeres.
Telomeres, those are the little protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes, right? They get shorter every time a cell divides as we age.
That's right.
I always picture them like the plastic aglets on the ends of shoelaces. Once those plastic tips wear off, the shoelace starts fraying and just falling apart.
It's a perfect analogy.
And once your telomeres wear off, your DNA starts fraying.
That is a perfect visualization. To protect that precious cargo, the data points heavily toward green tea and flaxseed.
Okay, let's talk about green tea.
Green tea has been revered as a youth elixir for, 4,000 years. But now we actually know the mechanism. It contains powerful catechins, particularly one called EGCG.
But what makes EGCG so special compared to, say, a standard vitamin C supplement you just buy at the store?
It goes far beyond just neutralizing free radicals directly. EGCG actually travels into your cells and interacts with your DNA. It triggers your genes to produce the body's own natural anti-aging enzymes.
Oh, like what?
Things like superoxide dismutase and catalase. These internal enzymes are thousands of times more powerful at protecting those telomere caps than any single antioxidant supplement you could swallow.
So it's basically turning your own body into an antioxidant factory.
Exactly.
And flaxseed does something very similar for our DNA, right? It contains lignans and alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA.
Yes, ALA.
These compounds protect those shoelace caps, reduce systemic inflammation, and even feed the gut microbiome, which, as we learned with the pomegranate, is crucial for unlocking all those other anti-aging compounds.
It all connects. So green tea and flax are protecting the cargo. But to keep the highways open, we turn to ginkgo biloba and the olive tree.
Ginkgo is wild. It's literally a living fossil.
It really is. It's a tree species that has survived practically unchanged for over 270 million years.
Talk about evolutionary resilience. Right?
Its flavonoids specifically target microcirculation. As we age, The tiny microscopic blood vessels that feed the brain begin to narrow and stiffen, which decreases blood flow.
Right.
This is a massive contributor to age-related cognitive decline. But ginkgo flavonoids actively relax and open up those microvessels, improving the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to enhance memory and processing speed.
That makes total sense. And then you have olive leaf and olive oil, which is the absolute secret weapon of the Mediterranean diet.
Oh, without a doubt.
The key polyphenol here is oleuropein, and it protects the broader cardiovascular system because the cardiovascular system ages faster than almost any other system in the body, right?
It does, because it deals with constant mechanical stress and pressure every single day.
Right, so oleuropein improves arterial flexibility and stops LDL cholesterol from oxidizing. Oxidized cholesterol is what actually builds up as plaque, so stopping that oxidation is literally keeping the highways clear of roadblocks.
We are seeing these ancient trees and Mediterranean staples doing incredible heavy lifting for our infrastructure.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. We're talking about ancient living fossils, and then suddenly peppermint gets thrown into the mix.
Peppermint is fascinating.
I have to push back a little here, though. I drink peppermint tea to, freshen my breath or settle my stomach. You're telling me NASA uses it to protect stem cells in space?
I know, it sounds completely like science fiction, but the biochemistry is undeniable. Peppermint is loaded with rosmarinic acid and a host of other incredibly potent polyphenols.
Okay.
Think about stem cells. They are your body's ultimate repair system. They can turn into whatever cell your body needs to heal tissue. But just like anything else, stem cells age and become sluggish over time.
And space travel accelerates that.
Dramatically. The extreme environment of long space voyages subjects astronauts to massive oxidative stress and harsh cosmic radiation that rapidly ages their stem cells.
Wow.
NASA studied peppermint because its specific polyphenolic compounds have a profound ability to shield stem cells from that oxidative damage. It maintains their youthful function even in those extreme environments.
It is literal cellular rejuvenation hiding in a breath mint. That is wild.
It really is.
But okay, let's say you have perfect circulation, the highways are open, the genetic cargo is protected, and the stem cells are firing on all cylinders. That biological infrastructure only goes so far if the body's internal messaging system is broken, right?
Exactly. By internal messaging, we're talking about your hormones and your body's stress response.
Yes. I like to think of hormones as the body's internal Wi-Fi signal.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, when you're in your 20s, you got 5 bars, everything is downloading instantly, cells are communicating perfectly, and the whole system just runs smooth. But with age, that Wi-Fi signal gets incredibly spotty. The router needs a reset. And the specific plants that regulate this are called adaptogens. They act as natural signal boosters.
Adaptogens are truly unique in the botanical world because they do not just push the body in one rigid direction.
What do you mean?
Well, if a pharmaceutical lowers blood pressure, it just pushes it down, right? An adaptogen, however, harmonizes. It reads where the body is out of balance and gently nudges it back to a state of equilibrium.
Take ginseng, for example. Traditional Chinese medicine referred to it as the root of immortality. It's an adaptogen that specifically regulates cortisol, the stress hormone.
Cortisol is a big one.
Because chronically elevated cortisol is essentially a massive aging accelerator. It breaks down collagen, it stores deep belly fat, and it just completely exhausts your cells.
Ashwagandha operates on a very similar axis. It is a legendary herb in Ayurvedic medicine. It aggressively lowers excess cortisol, which improves your overall resilience to stress.
But it does more than just lower cortisol, doesn't it?
It does. At the exact same time, it stimulates the production of DHEA.
Right, DHEA.
DHEA is a vital precursor hormone for both men and women that maintains skin vitality, muscle tone, and energy. Unsurprisingly, DHEA naturally drops off a cliff as we get older. Ashwagandha is essentially boosting that Wi-Fi signal back to 5 bars.
And for women specifically, there's Shatavari. The name translates beautifully to she who possesses 100 husbands, which really hints at its traditional use for maintaining endless vitality.
It's a very powerful plant.
It is packed with phytoestrogens. During natural hormonal transitions, like menopause, estrogen levels fluctuate wildly before they eventually drop. Shadavari's phytoestrogens gently dock into those cell receptors, balancing the system and providing deep hydration to tissues and mucous membranes.
Which is key, because those tissues tend to dry out and thin as we age.
Exactly.
Keeping the body systems hydrated and balanced also requires a robust stress response.
Let's look at licorice root.
The actual medicinal root, right? Not the red candy,
Yeah.
right? The actual root. It contains a compound called glycyrrhizin. This compound increases the production of glutathione, which is the master antioxidant produced by your own liver.
Wow.
It also directly supports the adrenal glands, which are the small organs that manage your entire stress response.
We also have evening primrose on the list for balancing. The oil pressed from its seeds reverses a deficiency in gamma-linolenic acid, or GLA.
And why is GLA important?
When you fix a GLA deficiency, you literally repair the skin's barrier function from the inside out. And you support healthy prostaglandin production, which is a major regulator of inflammation.
This raises an important question about our cultural blind spots.
How so?
Well, how we interact with the natural world heavily dictates the benefits we actually receive from it. Take soy and kudzu. Soy contains isoflavones like genistein and daidzein. Like shatavari, these act as gentle phytoestrogens to maintain skin thickness and collagen when natural estrogen drops.
But in the West, we usually interact with soy as like a highly processed additive, right?
Exactly. We strip away the natural matrix of the plant. By consuming heavily processed soy isolates, we completely miss these profound, gentle, modulating effects on our hormonal pathways.
Oh, I see.
And kudzu is an even more extreme example of a cultural blind spot. In the United States, it is widely considered an invasive weed, just a total pest.
Oh, yeah. People literally call it the vine that ate the South.
But in traditional Asian medicine, kudzu is deeply revered. It contains purerin, which is a unique isoflavone. Research actually demonstrates that purerin can reverse vascular aging, protect the blood vessels from oxidative damage, and heavily support liver detoxification and alcohol metabolism.
Are you serious?
Yes, we spend millions of dollars trying to eradicate a plant that contains compounds capable of repairing our internal infrastructure. It challenges our entire definition of what makes a plant a weed.
It really makes you wonder what else is growing in the backyard that we're completely ignoring. So we've cleared the cellular trash, opened the circulatory highways, and boosted the hormonal Wi-Fi signal. What happens on a cellular level inside the body ultimately reflects on the outside.
It always does.
This brings us to visible skin health and the actual foods we put on our plates every day.
Because true anti-aging cannot just be an internal secret. The body functions as a unified whole, and deep cellular health inevitably reflects in outer radiance.
Apparently, Cleopatra knew this thousands of years ago. We have to talk about aloe vera, often called the plant of immortality.
A very fitting name.
Right. Most of us just think of it as a soothing, cooling gel for when we stay at the beach way too long. But it has this complex polysaccharide called acemannan. When applied or consumed, acemannan penetrates deep into the dermal layers to stimulate fibroblasts.
And fibroblasts are the specific cellular factories that manufacture collagen and elastin.
Right.
As we age, fibroblasts get lazy. Aloe vera essentially communicates with those factories, telling them to wake up, increase production, and behave like younger cells.
Which has to be far more effective than just smearing a topical collagen cream on the surface of your skin and, just hoping it absorbs.
Way more effective.
And for internal collagen support, we look at amla, the Indian gooseberry. It contains massive amounts of vitamin C, but the magic is really in its delivery system. The vitamin C in amla is protected by a unique polyphenol matrix.
That matrix is crucial.
Yeah, that matrix makes the vitamin highly bioavailable, meaning your body can actually absorb it and transport it directly to those fibroblasts to synthesize new collagen.
Okay, but I want to push back on something here.
So what does this all mean? Like, what does this actually mean for you listening right now? We've talked about a lot of specific roots, rare berries, and extracts today.
We have.
It is incredibly easy to fall into the modern trap of the magic pill industry. You listen to this and think, I just need to buy the isolated amla pill, the highly concentrated turmeric extract, and the ginseng tincture, and I'll live forever.
Right, we want the quick fix.
But reading through the research from Homestead Roots, there's this huge emphasis on everyday dietary patterns over isolated supplements.
That is a vital distinction to make. Nature rarely designs a compound to work in isolation. Isolated compounds in a pill simply do not work as well as nature's packaged synergy.
Look at dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, Swiss chard. They are the ultimate daily powerhouse. They deliver lutein and zeaxanthin to protect your eyes from UV damage.
They're amazing.
They provide vitamin K to ensure calcium goes into your bones instead of, calcifying your arteries. And they are packed with natural nitrates that your body converts into nitric oxide, which keeps your blood vessels wide open and your circulation humming.
And kicker here.
Yeah. People who consume dark leafy greens daily have a measurably younger biological age. Their cells are literally younger than their chronological birth date,
And the grand finale of this botanical deep dive really drives the concept of synergiome.
which is,
Red bell peppers and a wide variety of colorful vegetables.
eating the rainbow.
Exactly. You get massive amounts of vitamin C, far more than you would get from an orange, plus an array of carotenoids like lycopene and beta-carotene.
Right.
When these whole foods are digested together, the synergy of those compounds working in concert creates an anti-aging effect far greater than the sum of its parts.
Wow.
You could not replicate it with a dozen isolated supplements in a bottle. We really need to frame this as comprehensive, full-body rejuvenation rather than just spot-treating our wrinkles or stiff joints with individual extracts.
It means the most powerful, proven anti-aging interventions on Earth don't require a prescription.
No, they don't.
They don't require a billionaire's bank account or a sterile laboratory. They reward consistency over quick fixes, and they have been hiding in plain sight in our grocery stores and gardens all along.
It really is a fundamental paradigm shift in how we approach longevity. Instead of passively accepting physical decline as inevitable, we are actively providing the body with the exact biological tools it needs to repair DNA, regenerate tissue, and actually program our cells for youth.
And I want to leave you with a brand new thought to mull over. We've talked about all these incredibly potent compounds today. The complex anthocyanins in the berries, the balancing adaptogens in the roots, the protective polyphenols in the ancient leaves.
So many compounds.
Remember, these plants evolved these complex chemicals specifically to survive extreme environmental stressors. Things like harsh solar radiation, brutal droughts, and relentless insect attacks.
They are survival molecules, plain and simple.
So when we consume them, when you eat that thyme or steep that green